Before you scroll, stop for a second and really listen, because this is not random and it is not just another message made to feed false hope. There is someone who feels much more for you than they have ever admitted, yet they are staying away on purpose, and the reason is deeper than silence, pride, or simple confusion. You may have already felt it, that strange pull in your chest, that moment when their name enters your mind for no reason, that quiet sense that something is happening under the surface, even when nothing is being said. Stay with me, because this part matters. When a connection touches someone deeply, distance does not always mean the feeling is gone. Sometimes it means the feeling became too strong to handle. Sometimes a person goes quiet because their heart is louder than their words. And if this has been heavy on your spirit lately, if your intuition has been whispering that this story is not over, there may be a reason for that. Not every person who stays away has stopped caring. Sometimes they are fighting what they feel because they know if they let it in fully, their whole world changes. Keep listening, because what looks like absence on the outside may actually be a storm they are trying and failing to control on the inside. And by the end of this, you may understand why their silence has felt so loaded, so strange, and so impossible to forget. There is a person who carries deep love for you, but instead of coming closer, they have stepped back and kept their distance. Before your mind runs in circles and starts creating 100 different answers, breathe slowly and settle yourself. This moment is not meaningless. The timing of this message is not empty. Sometimes truth reaches you only when you are tired enough to stop forcing everything and quiet enough to actually hear what your deeper self already knows. Your spirit has been sensing this for a while. There is someone in your story, maybe someone still near, maybe someone from the past, who feels more than they know how to express. Their emotions are intense. Their longing is real. And no matter how much distance they place between you, they cannot fully remove what they feel. Do not mistake silence for indifference. Their silence is full. It is crowded with thoughts, fear, memory, and emotion they cannot easily control. The more they care, the more they pull back. That is the contradiction. Loving you feels beautiful to them, but it also feels dangerous because you touched parts of them that were hidden under years of protection. You woke up something they had kept asleep for a very long time. And once that part of a person wakes up, they can never go back to being exactly who they were before. So if this has been on your heart, keep watching. The outside may look still, but the inside of them is anything but still. What happened between you was not small. You changed them. That is the center of it. Your presence made them see parts of themselves they were used to keeping buried. You opened places inside them that no one else had reached in the same way. You became more than just another person passing through their life. You became a mirror. And that mirror showed them two things at once: what they deeply wanted and what they were deeply afraid of. It showed them their hope, but also their old pain. It showed them the kind of closeness they longed for, but also every wound they never truly healed. They were not ready for that level of emotional exposure. They did not expect the ease they felt around you. They did not expect the calm your presence brought. They did not expect that being near you would feel both safe and terrifying at the same time. And they definitely did not expect that being away from you would feel like something important had been pulled out of their life. That is why they remain distant. Not because they do not care, not because you imagined the bond, but because your effect on them has been deeper than they know how to carry. Your words matter to them more than they want to admit. Your opinion reaches them more than they feel comfortable with. Your energy unsettles them because it asks them to be real. And for someone who survived by staying guarded, being real can feel like standing at the edge of a cliff with no promise that the fall will be soft. Their distance is also tied to guilt, even if they never say it out loud. Somewhere inside, they believe you deserve someone more healed, more stable, more certain than they feel right now. They replay things in their mind, old conversations, past mistakes, moments they should have handled better, things they did not say, things they wish they had done differently. They worry that the parts of them that are still unhealed would bring chaos into something that felt pure. They worry that if they come close before they are ready, they will damage the very bond they secretly want to protect. So their silence becomes a shield, a weak shield, but a shield all the same. Underneath it is a quiet voice telling them they are not enough yet, not ready enough yet, not strong enough yet. And that voice has controlled them for longer than you know. Logic cannot fully reach what they feel for you because the bond lives deeper than logic. They can distract themselves for a while. They can act fine in front of other people. They can pretend life is moving normally. But inside, you remain fixed in their emotional world. Nothing they try truly replaces what they felt with you. Every distraction fades. Every substitute feels flat. Their mind may try to push you away, but their deeper self keeps circling back. That is why their silence feels so heavy. It is not empty. It is filled with everything they are too afraid to say. They have been testing themselves in secret, trying to prove they can stand alone, trying to convince themselves they can live without the bond and be unaffected. But in the quiet parts of the night, when there is no noise left to hide behind, the truth presses in. They lie awake thinking about what was left unfinished. They know that one honest step toward you would shift their world completely. That is exactly why they hesitate. Because once truth is spoken, they cannot retreat into the shadows and pretend none of this matters. To love you openly would mean giving much more of themselves than they have ever been taught to give. So they keep waiting for the perfect time, a safer time, an easier time, a stronger version of themselves. But deep down, they already know healing does not wait for convenience. Life does not pause until someone feels perfectly ready. And even from a distance, they keep wondering if your heart still holds a place for them, or if you have finally closed the door. That question follows them more than they show. They may appear calm to everyone else, but the separation has been painful in ways they hide well. They miss you not like a simple memory, but like a place where they once felt more like themselves. They miss the way life felt lighter around you. They miss the honesty. They miss the warmth. They miss the version of themselves that could exist beside you without so much effort. At night, when sleep will not come easily, they think about the words they never said, the apologies they never gave, and the moments they wish they could live one more time. They imagine reaching out. They picture the message. They see your name on the screen and feel the pressure rise in their chest. Some nights they type long words and erase them. Some nights they open the conversation and close it again. Some nights they rehearse what they would say if fear would just loosen its grip for a minute. But the same questions stop them again and again. What if it is too late now? What if you have healed and moved on? What if you no longer want to hear from them? What if the silence lasted too long? Even with those fears, hope keeps returning. They still wonder if you feel the bond too. They wonder if your spirit still picks up on them in quiet moments. They wonder if your heart still remembers theirs the same way theirs remembers yours. There are nights when they feel certain you are thinking of them at the exact same moment, and that thought both comforts and unsettles them. Because they know they are the one creating the distance, yet they are also the one most afraid of losing the connection forever. This is the contradiction they live inside. They run from what they most want. They stay silent about what matters most. They hide from the one thing that could truly soften and heal them because they have never fully believed they deserve something this real. If they have seemed cold, detached, or almost careless, understand something important. That is not the whole truth. It is a cover, a survival pattern. They learned long ago that showing too much feeling leads to risk, that depending on someone can become pain, and that deep love often comes with deep loss. So they built walls, thick ones, quiet ones, strong ones. Then you came into their life and somehow moved through those walls without forcing anything. That is why they step back now. That is why they disappear and return in energy, if not in words. They try to rebuild the distance, but something in them keeps choosing you anyway. They tell themselves they need more time to grow, more time to heal, more time to become the person they think you deserve. But time has turned into its own trap. Every day of silence adds pressure. Every day of pretending adds weight. Every day of waiting makes the return feel harder, not easier. They picture coming back in a perfect way, strong and steady, knowing exactly what to say. But life rarely gives that kind of clean moment. Love almost never waits for complete courage. Sometimes the only path is to move while still shaking. They are beginning to understand that waiting for perfection is how people lose what matters most. And that realization has started changing them from the inside out. Slowly, quietly, but for real. So if you have felt a shift lately, do not ignore it. Something is moving. At the same time, you have been changing too, and this is where the energy truly starts to turn. You are not the same person you were when the silence first began. Back then, your emotions may have followed their every move. A reply could lift you. Distance could break your peace. You may have spent too much time trying to understand, trying to hold space, trying to be enough for someone who was not meeting you in the middle. But over time, something inside you grew tired. Not bitter, not hard, just wiser. You slowly started taking your energy back. You started remembering that your peace matters too. You started seeing that loving someone should not require leaving yourself behind. That change is powerful, and they feel it, even if they do not say so. When your energy was always reaching toward them, they could keep hiding inside that pattern. But when you became calmer, more centered, less desperate for an answer, the lack of your old urgency became impossible for them to ignore. Your silence became louder to them. Your calm became a mirror. And suddenly, they were left alone with their own feelings, with no easy distraction, no emotional safety net, no constant signal from you to hide behind. This is one reason their inner pressure has grown. They can feel that you are becoming stronger. They can sense that the version of you who would keep waiting forever is fading. And that creates urgency, because people often wake up fully only when they realize something precious may not stay available forever. Distance has forced them to look at themselves. That may be one of the hardest things a person can do. Being apart from you has acted like a mirror, showing them what they used to escape. It has exposed the difference between real strength and emotional numbness. They are slowly realizing that shutting down, pulling away, and pretending not to feel was never true power. It was only survival. It helped them avoid pain, but it also kept them from real closeness, real healing, real life. Now they look back at you with different eyes. They see someone who made them feel safe enough to hope again, someone they did not have to fake anything around, someone who reached them without trying to control them. And that scares them, because being deeply seen means there is finally something valuable enough to lose. But they are starting to understand something even more important. The real risk is not being vulnerable with you. The real risk is losing the chance to experience something rare because fear stayed in control too long. They know now they cannot build anything real while hiding behind old pain. They cannot love fully while staying trapped inside old beliefs about unworthiness. They cannot come close while still pretending they are untouched by all of this. So whether they want to or not, growth has started. Life is pushing them to face parts of themselves they avoided for years. They are learning that love does not ask for perfection. It asks for honesty. It asks for presence. It asks for the courage to stop hiding and simply be true. In their private moments, they remember the details. Your voice, your calm, the way you could sit in silence without making it awkward, the way you understood more than they explained, the way you made them feel known. They once thought love had to be dramatic, unstable, difficult, or confusing because that was all they had ever learned. But with you, something felt different, cleaner, softer, more real. And that itself frightened them. They were not only afraid you might leave, they were afraid they might disappoint you. They were afraid you would see their flaws too clearly. They were afraid of being loved in a way that required them to stop pretending. What they are slowly learning now is that you never asked for perfection. You never needed them to be flawless. You simply needed truth, presence, openness. But now every day without you carries a weight that no longer makes sense to ignore. Every morning, the absence feels more real. Every night, the quiet gets louder. What they hoped time would weaken has grown stronger instead. They feel the connection not fading, but deepening. They are starting to understand that silence has not protected love. It has only delayed the moment of truth. And that moment is drawing closer. You may not see it yet on the outside, but inside them something is being prepared. A breaking point, a turning point, a place where staying away will cost more than taking the risk of honesty. Keep listening, because this is where the energy changes from holding back to moving forward. There comes a point in every deep inner struggle when staying the same begins to hurt more than facing the unknown. They are getting close to that point now. Their mind is tired of fighting something that has not gone away. Their heart is tired of being silenced. Their spirit is tired of pretending distance is peace. In quiet moments, without planning to, they whisper your name. They reach for the phone. They replay old conversations. They search memory for your laugh, your eyes, your kindness, the simple warmth of being near you. They think about the choices they made out of fear instead of honesty. They think about how they moved away from the one person who truly understood them. They imagine what it would be like to hear your voice again. And that thought brings both comfort and fear. They wonder if there is still space for them in your life. They wonder if your heart would soften or stay guarded. They wonder if you still feel what they feel. The battle between fear and regret is still alive inside them, but one thing is changing. They are beginning to see that every time they deny what is true, they betray themselves. Every time they choose distance, they choose suffering. Every time they stay silent, they carry another what if. And they are tired. Tired of half living. Tired of watching from afar. Tired of losing time they cannot get back. That tiredness is not weakness. It is the beginning of honesty. It is what happens right before a person stops running and finally turns around to face what matters. So if this message touched something deep in you, hold on to this part most of all. Whatever happens next, your worth was never meant to depend on when another person becomes brave enough to tell the truth. Your value does not rise when they come closer, and it does not fall when they go silent. You are not waiting to become whole. You are already returning to yourself, and that changes everything. If they do come back, they will not be meeting the same version of you who once carried all the weight alone. They will be meeting someone stronger, calmer, clearer, and more rooted in self-respect. Someone who can still love deeply without abandoning themselves. Someone who understands that real connection must come with honesty, effort, and truth. The bond may still be alive. Their feelings may still be real. Their return may already be forming inside them. But do not lose yourself trying to force the timing. Let what is true reveal itself. Let your peace stay intact. Let their next step come from their own awakening, not from your exhaustion. Because if this connection is as deep as it feels, then no amount of surface silence can erase what has been written at a deeper level. Something is shifting. Their fear is weakening. Their heart is speaking louder. And the silence they once used as shelter is becoming too heavy to carry. When truth finally wins inside them, the distance will not be able to hold the story still anymore. And when that moment comes, it will not be because you chased it. It will be because what is real can only stay hidden for so long.